Hey guys, we're live on the moon. Early Wednesday morning, the 11th of April, 0209 a.m. I was going to wait a little longer before I started this, but there are some clouds in the sky, so I figured I'd just crank it up. We are looking at, let me just center the Mar. The Mar is a C, and I'm on the shadow line. And that Mar right there, isn't that beautiful, guys? I mean, isn't that just absolutely gorgeous? Let me slow my rate down. That is Mar Cerentius. It's up in the northern, it's kind of mid. If you remember, 2 days ago I did a video. Well, let me just show you where it is. I can do that. I can go to the left and down. I'll show you where the coast lands. It should be right over here to the left. Isn't that beautiful, guys? I turned the color down because we're not high enough in the sky yet. The sun has got to be out. I need light on. There's Plato coming up. See Plato right there, and then there's our Apollo landing site on the right. The coastlands on, see the coastlands on the left. And then if you look at Plato, is now at 12 o'clock. And Archimedes is centered, okay. Aristillus is right above that. Isn't this a beautiful picture, guys? And just to show you, I do have I have my Barlow in right now, and we will be able to do to a controlled extent zooms. So it might get, let's see, there's the tunneling. If I go too far out, then the tunneling comes in. So let's go back up to where I was. And this this Mar, which is right there. I've been trying to give you guys a little bit of geography lesson moon-wise, so you become more familiar with the moon. This Mar, right, this is a C, and it's called Mar Cerentius. Now, if you recall, I've always called a line of demarcation, okay, between these two C's, Mar, let me just get it over here. See, Mar Tranquillatus is on the right, okay. And if I turn the color up a little bit, you'll get an idea of what I'm talking about. It's hard to you can see the blues on the right and the kind of grays on the left, and then in past I've been able to zoom in and you see it. It's a very clear line. Well, I'm going to turn the color down because we don't have enough. The moon is not really bright. It's cloudy, kind of hazy clouds. I was wondering, I was watching this thing a little bit ago, and the clouds kind of, you could see it looked like streaks, you know, and they were just really light clouds. And tell me that wasn't a UFO. I don't want to talk about it. I'm going to let you decide what you want to decide. Anyhow, this Mar right here on the left is the one I'm concentrating on, is Mare Serenitatis. And that crater just at the 12 o'clock position. Isn't that beautiful, guys? I mean, this is actually beautiful stuff. And I'm going to let it coast. Look at the mountains coming in on the left. That crater at the 12 o'clock is called Posidonus. Posidonus. And let me give you an idea of distance-wise what we're looking at. That little crater to the center, Posidonus. Posidonus is that large crater center right there. See it? And at that crater's 10 o'clock position, offset from that crater, it's a hornet nest crater. That's called Danielle. And Danielle is 29 clicks wide, which is, I got all kinds of calculators, 18 miles wide. So now this give you kind of a better perspective. So that crater to the 10 o'clock of the big crater is called Danielle, and it is 18 miles wide. So when we go in and look, I'll just zoom in, for example. It'll be kind of hazy. I do have autofocus on. Okay. See, Danielle now will be, I'll center Danielle. Okay. Danielle is centered. It's not centered. It's kind of centered now. Well, it was. That little crater to the 5 o'clock of Danielle is probably I would guess maybe 2 or 3 miles wide. Anyhow, I can get a lot closer, but because of the atmospherics, you can see that when I do, I'm doing so with restrictions. So let's leave it out here for right now so we can. Let's do a survey of the moon now. Hope you guys are doing pretty good. I'm doing extremely well. We've had clear skies. The wind outside it's rather calm. Now take a look at these. This will give you an idea. When I have a real bright moon with a lot of sun on it, I can see the clouds. You can kind of see them. I can see the color difference between the left and the right. Okay, and this is the typical astronomer dead planet view that you're going to get from most telescopes. So you can see we got clouds coming in. What I want to do now is I want to work my way down the shadow line and then we'll do a circumference and see what we can see. I've had a lot of new subscribers. I appreciate you checking me out. I want to mention one thing that I'm going to be doing from now on. These videos that I make, Okay, now here we gotta work on this one. Okay, that's something. That's a showstopper there. That see that crater with a pile of rocks? That's what I'm going to concentrate on. Got to push the button the right way. And the telescope gets up so high. Okay. First of all, let's identify it. I'm going to try to be more methodical about how I do things. That crater is called Theophilus Crater, and it is 110 kilometers wide, which is 68 miles. So that crater with the pile of rocks pretty much centered. Now let's zoom in on that. Slow. That's the Theophilus Crater. See, we're getting some detail. I was looking at this a little earlier, and the skies are, you know, as the moon rises, it gets less atmospherics and it's clear. Let's go in all the way and see how close we can get. You're still getting quite a bit of detail. And what's interesting to me is that pile of rocks and the shadow. See the shadow of the. You can see the defined hornet nests on how it goes up in the air on the rim, and then there's a very defined mountain in the middle of that crater, and that's what really baffles me. This to me. Simpleton amateur astronomer that I am, I can't, you know, I have a hard time figuring out how these craters can be made with these rock piles. Isn't that beautiful, guys? Let me go back out up to there. Now, if you look at that crater, the crater to the kind of 1 o'clock of that, that crater is called Madler Crater, and it is 16 miles wide. Give you an idea as we kind of gallivant around the moon. See, you're getting so smart just watching my videos. I've already showed you two oceans and gave you the names. I gave you one big crater. I told you about Plato and some others, and I've told you distance. Now, and quite frankly, let's zoom in again just for grins. That crater at the 1 o'clock is called Madler Crater, and it is 16 miles wide, okay? And it is a little hornet nest crater. It's kind of centered now, 16 miles wide. Now, if you look at the Theophilus Crater, okay, there's a little kind of crater to the top of that, a little tiny round one at its 1130, and you figure that one is probably about a mile, maybe 2 miles wide. See that little crater? If you look at the Madler, which is it's not centered now. It's never going to be centered if I go that way. That little crater at the 1 o'clock that from the big one is Madler, and there is a little crater to the 10 o'clock from that, and that's probably a mile wide. But you see, because see how it waves in and out? It waves in and out. That's called atmospherics. And I am going to be experimenting with a new light wave camera, a light close light wave camera. I just saw something that strikes me as strange. I'm very curious, and I look for strange things on the moon, guys. I'm pushing the button the wrong way. I get so excited. Take a look at the to the 4 o'clock of Theophilus. See that square? What in the hell is that? Looks like a square. Come on, go up there again. I'm pushing it, just not. There it is. It looks like a square. Can't see it very clear. It might be clearer later on in the night, but there's clouds coming in. See that little kind of square thing? I don't know what it is. A lot of little craters. It's really pretty neat. Okay. Okay, let's continue our survey. Anyhow, I decided I'd try to be more. Isn't that beautiful, guys? More descriptive on some of the stuff I'm looking at. That way it makes it more interesting for you guys. And look at all those. There is Clavis. There is Clavis. And let me just center Clavis. It's one of my favorite craters. It's a crater within, there's 4 craters within the crater. I'll try to center it. It's just about the 12 o'clock right now. And see, there's Tycho to its, you can see it, it's pretty much centered right now. That's Clavis. And let's zoom in a little bit on that. And let me work that image right there. Let me try to... Sometimes when you're looking at these images, turn the brightness up, turn the contrast up a little bit. Let me try to see what we can do with color. If there's any... No, see how it's coming in on the left? It's just not... The sun's not up high enough. It's still a kind of a dim moon. That's a pretty good picture. That's Clavis right there with, and you can see it's kind of centered. It's a big crater, and there's 4 kind of craters in an arc in the middle. Sometimes when you're looking at these images, isn't that beautiful? Sometimes when you're looking at these images, they look like they're puffed up. It's all the atmospherics. They're not really puffed up. They're not breathing, as I've heard some people say. You know, they're moving. They're not moving. It's just an optical illusion. It's just. And there is Tycho in all its glory. We can finally see it. You can see why we can see it, because the moon is dimmer, and you can see the clouds coming in. That's why it's getting. That's why I elected to try to get out here and do a video before I lost it. Okay, let's continue our circumference. I don't know if you guys subscribe to the astronomy magazines, but they're there are several that are out there, and there's a lot of good information in them. One magazine is my favorite. It's called Sky, and it seems to have a better presentation. Oh, well, there's Crystal Lake. See, I get all excited when I see things. Let me drink a swig of Black Tiger coffee, not tea, coffee. And let us turn up the color on this and just see. See, you can see some of the color in there. The blues. See the blues in there? And let me turn up the brightness. Too much. Just not a very good moon for color tonight. I'll turn it down. Let's zoom in on this. This is a hotbed of alien activity. I believe there's a moon base up here, and it's too, can't see the, it's right in there. And I've seen flying saucers fly out of there, and I have some other videos. If you check my videos, I call this this particular mar a crystal lake. It's not really called Crystal Lake. It's actually Mar Humorum, but I call it Crystal Lake. And it's got these lights that seem to be under the surface of the water, not water but crystal. And there's a ramp on off that big crater to the left. Anyhow, that's one of my favorite areas on the moon. I always go there to see if I can see anything. It's too bad the color's not there tonight. That's the way it is. Okay, let's continue our circumference. I've been putting on my CDs. I have a good CD collection on, well, before we do that, let's just kind of go up a little bit right here and just look at that. Isn't that beautiful, guys? I mean, for whatever you think of my videos, there's a certain inherent beauty to the surface of the moon. No matter how you look at it, it just really looks. It's a strange, beautiful thing to observe. And I'm trying to bring them out. If you do have this on YouTube with high def, if you have a high def screen and the bandwidth, it takes bandwidth to watch it. By the way, I do have autofocus on. I've had it on for quite a while, and it's working pretty good. And there's our coastlands. See the coastlands? The big grotto kind of looks like a mouth. Got to turn the color up just to see if we can see the. Yeah, see, when the sun's not bright, you can see how it amplifies on the left from the edge over, but you can see still the seas are blue and how it's different color, like along the coast, and then on the coastlands it's a different color too. So you can see it all. It's just not as oops. Let me turn the contrast down. Thought I was turning the color intensity down. I'll leave it down right now because the moon's too dim for it. And there's Plato, and you can see all those. Let me just zoom in on Plato. That's a pretty cool crater. Yeah, see, it's just some nights are better than others for viewing. But I'm and there you can see the what I call the Alps, the Japanese mountains. Let's go back over here and let's continue up. Okay. And let's turn the brightness down, see what we can do with this thing. Look at whatever we can look at. And I think we're back where we started. Let's do one more thing before I shut this down. Let's go down through the. See how it's a clouds, guys. Let me just sit right there for a second. It's a clouds. It's affecting my presentation. I want you to take a look at this Mar. This is that Mar that I was trying to, it's called Mar Cerentius. And if you look at those little, they look like they're blinking. See they're little craters on the top of the. My theory is, guys, that these are crystal. That you can see through them, and you can see kind of into the surface, below the surface. And let's just zoom in a little bit, okay? And you can see there's little hornet nest craters on the top of the surface. But my contention is that there is something below the surface, like lights and I don't know what it is. And I think this is a haunting image. Oh, I know what I was trying to think about what I was. I'm doing one other thing. I have a Facebook account. My Facebook account is Bill Bryson, BILLBRYSON, and in Richmond, Texas. And if you befriend me on my Facebook account, which by the way is all set up for space, I am from now on, and starting the last video, I'm taking photos of my entire video and posting them on my Facebook account, so you can actually go up to my Facebook account and look at my my albums, and you'll see an album of this particular video, and you can see the things that I'm showing you in photo form. So I think it's pretty neat. So if you're so inclined and want to see it, you're going to have to befriend me to see it, because nobody can see it unless they're a friend. So it's worth being a friend. One other thing I wanted to say, see how the light just automatically jumped out and changed? That's because of the clouds, guys. I don't know when I'm going to do it, but I've been cranking up to do the sun. And I have a really pretty expensive filter that Mike bought, and I'm going to use that. And with this setup that I have, I can get in there real close, and I'm hoping to get in there and see bubbling Dante's Inferno on the screen, you know, and I can actually, we can see the prominence and everything. So let me turn the brightness down. So if I can, I haven't really fiddled with that yet, but it'll be kind of interesting to do it on video and do it live and see what we can see. See if there is a triangle on the sun, or a black dot in the center of the sun. Well, I'll look for it. Or what did they say? A hovering spaceship, an alien spaceship, larger than Earth, you know, tanking up like a gas station right off the edge of the sun. Well, let's look for it. I've done 2 sun videos. They're called Sun Musings, and they'll just be the next one will be Sun Musing 3, and I'll increment them like my Moon Musings, but they'll, you know, that's the way I'll do that. In any case, we'll give it a shot tomorrow night and see, maybe it'll be better, but this wasn't too bad. Just wasn't in color because we didn't have any light. In the meantime, wishing you and yours clear skies, guys.